I'll be talking a little bit about how the session is organized, and we'll be finding our way. We're very excited about having Micah Fialka-Feldman and Lynn Albee here, who have just done this brilliant. How many of us have the book? Yes. Just written Opening Doors in a very unique and wonderful way. You want to lean into the welcome, Jack, and tell us how we got here and
Well, yes, welcome aboard. Um, this this Ideas That Matter event is one of a series, and it has an interesting history, which is actually part of Micah's history because Micah and the Summer Institutes that we started in 1984, uh, we started at the same time. And Micah's personal history with maps and circles and all that stuff parallels the growth and global outreach of both Micah and Inclusion Press. But in 2021, after 34 years, we decided that we couldn't do face-to-face Toronto Summer Institutes anymore, so we scaled down to ideas that matter, short, punchy sessions on topics that really matter, and are doing them virtually so they can travel the world. And so that's being done through Inclusion Press and the Marsha Forest Center, which is how Inclusion Press got started. And Kathy Hollins, who's the chair, wanted to be here, but she's double booked as usual. She's always busy in the best possible way. And we're interested in promoting the core belief of inclusion because we think it's a better way. And we think that these days, um, we're even going to need to remember more carefully the underlying values of inclusion as we move forward in interesting and complicated times. But, and tonight we have the pleasure of welcoming new co-authors. Micah Fialka-Feldman is a remarkable young man. And I think one of the things about this book is that, as far as I know, there happily are now quite a few books about people with disabilities, but I don't think there are maybe any. I'm not sure. I don't know of another one where a person with a complex disability has written their story their way. And that's what makes this story by Micah so remarkable. He's tucked it into his phone and collaborated with a buddy of his who he met at a conference in 2008, I think, a long time ago. And you and Lynn began collaborating on a variety of fronts. She did her thesis on you, and then you began thinking about this book. And I think I should stop talking and turn it over to our special guests, Lynn and Micah.
I'm just going to put in the chat how we've got this. We met the other day and we talked about how we would organize this session, and I'm just going to put the two of you together on the screen, and we said that you'd have a bit of an exchange about um, how this story got started and a little bit of introducing one another. And then you've selected some readings that we'll talk about one at a time, and it'll give us something to think about. And after the first one you do, when you get there, we'll go into a small group and have some conversation about it and then come back together. And I'll remind you that we also pulled some of the pictures, Micah, that you talked about
Mhm.
to share. And so we've got those. And a couple of texts, Lynn, that Micah sent us right before the session. One that you'd like to have someone read, Micah, pretty near the beginning, and
Oh
one
yeah.
And so, no, Lynn, you can see the chat?
Yep, I got it open.
Okay, so you kind of let us know if you want to roll into the introduction first and let us know when you'd like to have a couple of the slides, and we're not going to get into a small group until you've gotten a chance to get into the reading.
Okay.
Okay, so a little bit of intro of one another, Lynn. I think you had a plan.
Sure. Do you want me to introduce myself, or do you want me to introduce Micah?
If
Could go off script a little bit.
if you want, you can say like who I am. That's fine.
I'll do that. Yeah. So yeah, I'll give you a little bit of background too. Sorry, I came in exactly when this started. I am currently an elementary music teacher, and we are in the final stages of putting together a Shrek Junior musical. And of course, today was the day that one of the kiddos' parents was late to come pick up one of their kiddo, so I needed to wait until they got picked up. So cut it real close today. But Micah and I met in 2008 at a disability studies in education conference in New York City at Teachers College. And Micah was at the time doing a presentation about how he was hoping to go to college and hoped to live on campus and live independently. And that was one of his dreams that he was hoping to accomplish. And at the time, I don't even remember what I was even talking about, but I presented about something. But from then on, Micah and I have stayed in contact. We developed a friendship. We talked all things inclusion, and we found out that we have similar beliefs in what we think the education system should and could look like for all kiddos. And fast forward to Micah going to college and deciding he wanted to live on campus. Part of the story that you were able to read in Opening Doors was part of the dissertation that Micah allowed me to write, which is all about him winning his right to live on campus with every other student at Oakland University. And so when the dissertation was finished, we thought, okay, let's make this written in a way that people would want to read it, not in a dissertation academia focus, but for everybody to really hear the story of like, these are the things that Mike has been able to do to make inclusion successful, to show the world that this is something that is completely doable. And it took us, it feels like 65,000 years at this point to finish the book, but it's finished. We finished it right before Micah turned 40, which was his goal. And I think that when we originally started talking about that, we're like, oh, this is an easy goal. We can do that. Well, no, we cut it real close because it was finished and out in July and he turned 40 in September. So we cut it very close. So that's kind of the background of the story and where we're at today. Micah joined one of the classes that I teach on Tuesday night, and he got his first like Q&A from some undergrad folks asking questions about the book and his life and all that stuff. So we had a trial run on Tuesday that was pretty darn successful. So Micah, I'm going to turn it over to you so you can add what you wanted to add and talk about all the things I forgot to say.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, I wrote the book, and I I never thought it would take this long. I thought it would be like a while, but not like a long time. But it was fun. It was fun writing a book and figuring out chapters and just talking about my story and life and 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 I'm and like with the book I'm just very happy to should like have a book at age like 40. Most people don't. Like people who write books, I think most times they write books when they're older. But I'm I am happy that I have my book out. I am as I am 40, and yeah, it's a great book, and one friend at like school or work told me oh, are you gonna write another book? I said no. One like book is my limit, but if you want to do something, you go ahead and write anything. But I'm all done writing my books, and you can all see my posts on Facebook Syntax, but I'm all done doing my books. No more books.
Micah, do you want to, you did a lot of this by text, and you and Lynn really organized together what you wanted to include. Do you want to do you want to share the text?
Oh yeah. If
And maybe have a couple of pictures, Lynn, and then maybe go into the first reading and why you did it? Why the two of you wanted to select that reading?
Mm-hmm. Do you want to do you want to start talking about it, and then I'll get the chapter open?
Oh sure. Should I have someone read the slide I have first?
Yeah.
Yeah, while you're getting Micah, you is there someone that you wanted to invite?
Yeah, Martha, could you read the slide?
I'm always ready to be your co-pilot. Yep. I just want to say I'm just feeling so good about how things are going for me. I know there's lots of hard times in our country, and then our government is this brings me smiles and tears in my eyes that things that going good for me. I've worked so hard for so many things in my life, and I'm 40 years old, and I've come a long way from when I was 18. When I was 18 years old, I never thought I would ever move out of Michigan. But when I turned 27, I moved from Michigan to Syracuse, New York, and it was one of the best things I've done in my life, of moving from a new city, from Michigan to Syracuse, New York. And I've built a great life for me and Syracuse.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good. Thank you.
Do you want to talk through some of the slides now too?
Sure.
Okay. So we all know this one. This is the book you all know and love.
Here's a picture of me and my sister, and I looked like I'm a kid back then. I looked very young, and and probably saying, oh, I could eat that whole thing of ice cream and be okay. Probably I would, but at my age now, I couldn't eat all the ice cream because I would get sick. But it's a picture of me and my sister having fun of siblings. And here's a picture of me holding flowers at the farmer's market. And here's a picture of my family, and my sister and my sister-in-law. It it was maybe last year or the year before, I'm not sure, I don't. And then here's a picture of here's a picture of me and my dad and my mom right after my I came back to Syracuse in like fall of 2014, after like the long summer that was a very hard summer, but I got through it and I'm healthier and stronger, and yeah. And here's my friend April, and her and I are friends, and she wrote the forward in the book, and we are great friends. Here's my good friend here's my good friend Judith Snow, that she, if like she was alive, she probably would say, oh, have you gone for your for your for like your for like your for like your for like your PhD? And I would say, no, I'm fine with not having a PhD yet. And here's some great photos of my sister's wedding. It was like the great day for our family and our friends, and it was just so fun. Here's a picture of me and Lynn when I turned 40 at a party. It was in the fall, and yeah.
Well, and that's a wrap. So,
With those fantastic images that are in the book, can you lead us? I know you've picked a couple of readings. What's the first one that the two of you have decided to share? And you can let us know why you picked it.
Do you want me to take it, Micah?
Sure.
All right. So Micah and I decided that we would start with the setting boundaries chapter. I'll add a little bit, and then Micah, add your part to it too.
Sure.
But this was one of the last chapters that we wrote when we were putting this together. And it ended up, at least in my opinion, being one of the most powerful and honest chapters that Micah wrote. And it's like not something that usually you talk about, is setting boundaries with your family and setting boundaries with your friends and work, and how do you do that. And the chapter it's my absolute favorite because there's conflict in it, and it does end with a positive, happy ending, but it talks about like the honest stuff that people have to deal with setting boundaries and doing that in healthy ways. Micah, do you want to add anything?
Sure, yeah. It's one of my staff, Ash, who's a great staff, and like all my staff, but Ash, like when they were hired, they helped me just like as I got older, I just thought it would be good to like send a note to my parents, and just tell them what to talk about and what to not talk about, and I just have like that, and it's helped me. And yeah, I don't like set any boundaries for like when my sister or friends come over. I don't it's very like easy, and I just have my sister come over, and I don't set any boundaries for my sister or friends or any of that.
So here's my question for you, Micah. So my parents are coming to visit tomorrow from Illinois, and I'm in Minnesota. And tomorrow's actually my birthday too. So what advice would you give me to set boundaries with my parents for an entire weekend that they're spending in my house with me and my family?
I would tell them that I would tell them to, like, if like they want to ask you questions, they can send you an email, or like if they're worried about something, they can like send like an email or like a note after they leave, and just and try to tell them to just be like calm.
Nice, nice. What if they don't follow the rules? What would you
I
what would you advise me? What would you suggest I do?
I don't know. I I just uh I I have never like got that. I yeah uh I don't know. They can like they can like sleep in like they can like sleep in like the they can like sleep in the they can sleep in like the couch or in somewhere else. So I don't know.
I'll know that. I'll let them know that. Yeah. All right. Should I just jump into the chapter then, Micah? Do you have anything else you want to say?
No, it's all good.
Okay, so I'm gonna read not the whole chapter, but some of
Oh,
this chapter.
there is
Yeah, go ahead.
there is something in the chat.
Yeah, I'm very happy that people are just commenting in the chat as we go. So
Mhm.
we'll catch up with that, but let's let
Yeah.
you roll into the reading.
Okay.
Okay, so here is chapter 9, setting boundaries. As much as I love my parents, sister, and friends with the help I need, it can sometimes be too much and boundaries can be overstepped. Setting boundaries is something I am learning to do, and it is something that takes time. It's something all families deal with, and it's a normal thing for parents to care a lot. I learned that when my parents come and visit me, I send them a list of boundaries that I need to be respected. As I get older, I am getting more particular in what I like in my life. It takes me a lot of time to plan and cook my meals, for example, and I don't want other people to eat my food. My parents used to bring me food when they would visit, and I liked it at first, but since I'm trying so hard to stay healthy with what I eat, it can be hard to say no to my parents' goodwill gestures. Talking about finances and budgets with my parents is hard. I am much more comfortable talking about those things with people other than my family. It's also hard for me to talk about my health with my parents, and I feel better when I talk to my medical professional staff about my needs. And this is a side note from me in the book. I also don't talk about my health with my parents. I think it's private as well. Long-term planning can be overwhelming, so I have learned about strategies to look ahead, but not too far ahead. For example, I will concentrate on the semester that I'm teaching in so I can make sure I'm doing my best work. If I think about all the semesters at once, it's too much. And then the next part in here is about dealing with conflict. So I'll talk a little bit about that, but I'm gonna stop hopefully at like a juicy end point. So you're gonna be like, no, read more. Micah isn't immune to having to deal with conflict. Unfortunately, he has had to deal with it just like all of us. In the spring of 2022, Micah hired a new roommate. Micah lives independently in a home that his parents bought in 2021. Micah's dad serves as Micah's landlord, and Micah pays monthly rent to his dad to live in the building. Although Micah lives on his own, he prefers to live with a roommate. He specifically hires roommates who are willing to be paid to spend time with him. His roommates have been a sounding block for him in social situations, been protection for him when people could potentially take advantage of him, and specifically during the COVID-19 pandemic to serve as his social outlet. Micah, like lots of us, struggled with missing out on hanging out with friends during COVID, and having a roommate was very helpful for his mental health. Micah has been fortunate to hire good roommates, but had an encounter with a roommate that didn't pan out as expected. This was Micah's first female roommate, and she was younger than him. She was still an undergrad student, unlike his past roommates who were older and with other full-time jobs. Being Micah's roommate can involve more responsibility than what an undergraduate student might expect. Some of the things Micah likes to do with roommates are having dinner together and having a night or so each week where they hang out either at home or out in town. The difference in age and social expectations can be different for a 20-year-old versus a 30-some-year-old. Micah likes to stay in more than going out, and a young adult might want to do the opposite. That tended to be the case in this situation. At first, the living arrangements went well. As the school year went on, the roommate was pulled in different directions that complicated living with Micah. In dealing with conflict in this situation, communication broke down, and eventually the living arrangement didn't work anymore. Rather than talk through the conflict together, the roommate decided to move out. The roommate told Micah's other support staff that she was moving out and didn't tell Micah. She didn't want to hurt Micah's feelings and decided to avoid the conversation. But in doing this, she hurt Micah's feelings. In texts sent to Micah's staff, she shared that she was not happy with the living situation and she never told Micah. She also shared that she had other boundary issues that she never shared. For example, Micah likes to hug his friends. This was a boundary that was never communicated, so Micah hugged her without knowing she was uncomfortable with it. This situation, Micah decided to share in the book because it's something that people all over have to deal with. It's a hard conversation to have, but an important one. So I'll pause right there.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I have organized us into some small groups for conversation. What bubbled up for you? Boundaries and conflict. What resonated for you? Share what you noticed is coming up for you. You may have one of your own experiences to share, and there's really only 10 minutes of time. So we're in groups of 3 and 4. Please make space to hear from everyone. Just what bubbled up and resonated for you. Just want to give a little bit of time for people to make some meaning of this and hear what you have to say. So we've got 10 minutes and it'll be about less than a minute and the rooms will close at the end of 10 minutes. So I'm going to open the space and you'll see a message that says join. So join the room and I'll help anybody get there if you have a hiccup. Enjoy the conversation with each other. Oh, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Oh, before we went into those breakout groups where you had a chance to hear what one another were thinking about, we had a couple of reflections that people had in the chat, and we'd love to hear more. Just use the chat. Let us know there may be something that you heard yourself say or something you heard somebody else say. We thought, oh, that was good. There already, Michael, were a couple of people who talked about, Janelle said, age-old conflict of one generation's right to know versus another generation's right to privacy. Noticing the differences between relationships with our parents and cut our friends a lot more slack.
The guy, and like now when I have like now as I get older, I like now now the guy kind of eat my dinner and then I like quiet down in my room and just watch into my iPad and I go to sleep by 10. Like on Saturdays I go out and do stuff, but during the week I like to just hang out in the house and watch TV or just hang out and 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 uh, and sometimes it's fun to eat by myself after being at work all day and talking to people. And having hearing aids, it's just nice to have quiet, and I eat dinner and then I go to my room and it's nice.
Appreciate people's comments in the chat, thinking about brothers and sisters and hearing one another. I'm wondering, I'm noticing the time that we've got left.
Mm-hmm.
We've got about 15 minutes.
Okay.
And I know that you and Lynn, is there one more reading that you want to do before there maybe are some questions from folks?
Yeah, the last then in my notes, I think the next reading was going to be about dreams and nightmares.
Yeah.
Maybe Micah, before I start reading into this, can you share with everyone on here what you were thinking about writing this chapter? Why would you write this? But like what were you,
Sure.
what was your thought behind why we should put this in the book?
Sure. Yeah. I think it was good to write about dreams and nightmares, because some people, like with me, I have learned how to share my thoughts and feelings, and what are like dreams and nightmares, and I just sometimes, and I share them with like my friends and staff and people, and like my therapist, and but but I think it's good to like share that in the book, just to have people know what I am um uh, uh, thinking.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This was written a few years ago, this particular chapter. And like as I'm rereading this now, like you talk about hoping that the government funds Medicaid, and I remember writing that thinking that's not even an issue. Like I don't even know why we're writing this right now. This isn't even a big deal, but okay, we'll put this in here. And now, like with recent things that have happened in our election cycle, now I'm finding myself in the same like panic and worry that you had a couple of years ago. So like you had the futuristic vision of seeing that like this is a potential issue. This is something that could go south real fast. And like I just have to say now, like, good thinking, Micah. I'm glad you put this in here. All right, so I'm going to jump into this chapter. So it's dreams and nightmares. So one dream, policy for people with disabilities. I have dreams that I will, and hopefully people with disabilities will, be able to have a good life. To me, the civil rights movement was important because it means that people with disabilities are able to know about their rights, that they know that they have to stand up for their rights. I really hope the government will continue to support Medicaid and will still have rights for people with disabilities, and we will be able to stand up for our rights. There have been protests in Washington, D.C. by people with disabilities. I think it's a good thing for people to stand up for their rights. Because the thing is, people without Medicaid don't know that it helps people. We need to try to find an example of people who will know that Medicaid is good for people. Another dream, relationships. I was in a relationship a while ago, but not anymore. It was a hard decision by the end of it. It was getting harder because I had a different level of independence and I wanted different things than she did. My ex-girlfriend's parents are her guardians, and she had to go to her parents for everything. It was getting tiring, and I was only seeing her once a month. She took the news harder than I did. For me, I was ready, and like for her, she was trying to understand it. She sent me a text about it, and I said it's up to her if she wants to be more independent, but she has to figure that out on her own. She needs to figure out with her parents and her friends on how to become more independent. I think that parents can be involved, like mine helped me, but they're not in control of my life. It's a decision I wanted, and my parents and my circle of friends supported me. Not every family feels that way, and every person's experience and needs are different. It's hard sometimes. It takes time with relationships. Every relationship might be, every relationship will take time. It's still a dream of mine to live with someone one day. If I do get married, hopefully my parents will still be alive to come to the wedding. It's my hope and dream that it'll work out. And then I'm going to move on to I'm going to skip a little bit and I'm going to move on to one of the nightmares. So, nightmares, family. It's hard to talk about nightmares. Hopefully, not for a long time. But after hanging out with my sister a couple months ago, I felt very happy and glad that my sister would be a very good sister if I needed another surgery. She would know how to talk to people and help me. Hopefully, I will be surrounded by good friends and family later in life. As I get older and they get older, I actually get older and they get older. I actually get younger and they get older. Haha. I know in the future they'll be passing. I know that they will always be in my heart, and I know that I still have a long time with them still. I hope my parents will be around for a long time. It'll be sad when my parents are not around. I call them once in a while when I need help with ideas, but I have my aunts and uncles and cousins if my family isn't around. My sister will be around. She's younger than me. It's interesting when I hear about my friends' parents dying. It hasn't been a big deal. Now that I'm older, it's more serious. I thought that you lived forever. If I figure out how to live forever, I'll let you know. I'm going to stop right there. Micah, you want to add anything?
Oh, no, it's all good.
Let's see.
Yeah, like maybe like most times I just most times I just call my parents to say hi and give updates when I like at my age I kind of just tell them I do the same thing that I in like 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 at my age now I don't like do anything different as like I come home, work, and go to bed and watch some TV and the chapter about having families. I like if I find someone, but I like teach like undergrads and I see kids all day, and that's like it's kind of like having kids. I teach them and and I don't have to like take them home, and I don't really care what they do right after class. I don't care what they do.
You don't have to take all your kids to hockey practice and softball
No.
practice and baseball
No.
practice and help them with their homework.
No.
And remember how to do 4th grade math.
No. But if people have questions, I am glad to answer them.
That is perfect, Micah. We wanted some time for some Q&A. See if people hit the whole gallery. We can see one another's thumbnails, and either unmute yourself to ask a question, or you can use, there's a raise hand thing, but you can just wave your hand. There's a little icon on the bottom if you want to raise your hand. We'll see you on the screen. What questions do you have? These guys are ready. They had questions in Lynn's class the other night.
What were some of the questions they asked, if you want to share, Lynn or Micah?
Marguerite has a question, and then let's see. What's on your mind, Marguerite?
I wanted to ask you, Micah, when you were seeing that young woman that had a guardianship, what were some of the differences you saw between your life and her life?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say that she lived like one block away from her parents. Like if I didn't win my last year, I probably would have lived somewhere in Michigan, maybe not like one block away. That feels too close for me, but and she was, and for me, I was like in regular classes, and I think she was in like segregated classes, I think, but I'm not totally sure. And yeah, and she just didn't like every time when I would call her a lot, she would be sitting at home and watching a show on TV on Monday and her cat, and yeah.
Mhm. One of the questions that the students asked on Tuesday was if you, when you were 18, could you have imagined what your life was going to be like when you were 40? And if you did imagine like what life would be like when you're 40, is it what you imagined? And what was your response, Micah?
I said nope.
So
Yeah.
this life was not in your imagination, Micah?
What?
You would not have imagined this?
No, I imagined probably like living in like Ferndale or Royal Oak and working at like a maybe at like a coffee shop and like having like great staff, but not like probably like cooking, but not the same way as I have great staff now, and just like maybe like one time in my life I would like move somewhere, like, but I just knew that I had to like move out of Michigan because I lived there like my whole life, and there comes a point that yeah, there comes a point with that you get tired of like living in the same city and town.
Micah, it feels like a perfect time to bring up your last texted quote.
Sure.
Who would you like to invite to read it?
I would pick like I would pick Lynn. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So here's what it says. And I plan on living in Syracuse for the rest of my life. It's my home. It's my city. It's where I work. And it's where I have my healthcare team. It's where I have my gym. It's where I have everyone. And I just have an amazing community. Have a great night, everyone, and a great place to work at Syracuse University and the School of Education, Lawrence B. Tasoff Center for Inclusive Higher Education.
Micah, that quote, it really moves me because of it epitomizes to me your choice and control over your life. And I thank you for sharing that life with me.
This is not good. Not how is that everyone make the choice to live where they want to live, and it is a beautiful way to communicate with 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 everyone that is involved in Micah's life. And it is his life, not nobody else's life.
Thank you, Marguerite. Well, and you have lived it out loud, Micah, your own way. That is for sure. What a great pleasure for all of us to spend this last hour with you. And Jack is pulling up. I've posted the Ideas That Matter webpage, the hub, where you'll be able to find this recording. And I'll send people a link that were registered. I know there's a few people whose links I don't have because there are people who pass the link around. You can reach me at linda@inclusion.com. I'm happy to hear from anybody who wants a link to the recording. If you got a message from me with this link, you're going to get it. I'll send it to you, but just go to our website, inclusion.com, and you'll be able to go to the hub page. And Lynn and Micah are available. This is a flyer. These two characters are available for workshops, talks, engagements. They would love to be able to connect with you. Thanks everybody for the evening. Thank you. Thank you,
Yep.
Lynn and Micah. Thanks everyone.
Yep.
Please unmute yourself.
Never hope.
Unmute yourselves and
Love
kiss each other
and
goodbye.
hope.
Thank
Yes.
Bye. Thanks for organizing.
Thank you so
Goodbye.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's a
See you
blessing.
see you in the queues,
Thank
Micah.
you.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Oh my God.
Good evening.
You.
All right.
Yes.
Lynn, here's if your friends are coming tomorrow, tell them that they have to watch the kids and take them, and then you like go out to a bar and just have some drinks and have fun.
I wish that could be the case, but they're not even coming up to see me this weekend. They're coming up to see my kids are in 3 separate hockey tournaments.
Oh God darn it. Well, tell your parents that they can drive them and you like go hide under the covers of bed or go somewhere.
Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah. Well, and then my